I've been money craving, started shoebox saving, made some puzzle placements. I know what this life gon' come with, know that they gon' go and hate it.
Welcome back to Nationwide Sports Talk. I'm Matt Mackey, live from West Virginia. Wild and wonderful, y'all. And you can add to the part, it's white outside. Snowy day we had this past week. In my area, I had 20 inches. They said, I'm not for sure how many out there, but I was stuck inside. So, Caleb, live from Morgantown. Caleb, say what's up.
What's going on, guys? Hope everyone had a great week. If you got to see some snow, then it's been beautiful. Definitely up here in Morgantown, seeing the snow.
How many inches y'all get up there?
I want to say probably 7 or 8, but we got like 10 or so up in where I work in Pennsylvania. So It was pretty fun.
Yeah, the driving the snow is pretty fun always, especially when you got to pay the bills, so you got to go to work.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, we're going to start the episode off pretty quick and have a nice, smooth episode because NFL's closing up. College football is definitely on the verge of closing, but college basketball, the doors are open. So we're going to touch basically pretty much so small on NFL and just give our picks of the week, give the results from last week, and then go right into the jump for college basketball and end the episode great with college football. And to conclude the episode, since Selection Sunday is happening Sunday at noon, Caleb and I will give our Final Four prediction who will be in the college playoffs. Caleb, you ready?
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
Hold on tight. Here we go. So last week, Caleb and I's picks. Caleb did better than me. He went 13-2. I went 12-3. So, he won last week. But the season overall, I'm still winning 126-59-1. The Caleb's 119-66-1. So, Caleb, we're going to start off right because there's games on Saturday this week. So the first game of the day, Bills and Broncos. Who you like?
I like the Bills. This offense is very explosive, and not knowing what's going on with this Broncos team still, I think the Bills are a definite in this one.
I like the Bills as well. I mean, the defense is still shaky for me, but the way the Broncos have been playing, it doesn't really match up to what the Bills are putting on the field. And Josh Allen, my boy, playing a whole other ballgame these past couple of weeks. The last game on Saturday, you get the Carolina Panthers take it on Green Bay Packers. Who you like?
Packers all the way. Them playing in Lambeau, I'm sure they got a decent amount of snow, so they'll be used to it. And Aaron Rodgers is the man, and I think it's his MVP year.
Yeah, first we're talking about Russell Wilson, then we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, then we also talked about Josh Allen here and there, but no one really talks about Pat Mahomes because I think we expect what happens to him every year. He should be playing great, so his caliber is too high, and he can't pretty much reach it every year in my eyes, but he will. But Aaron Rodgers, this might be his year for MVP because he's proven himself as a new coach that he can get the job done still, and even as the threat of a backup coming in for him, no matter what, he plays very well. But in this game, I like the Packers as well. I like the Packers big, honestly, to win this one.
Same.
First game on Sunday, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Atlanta. So Atlanta's got to clean up that field after the SEC title game Saturday. So who you like?
I like the Bucs. I think this offense is really going to start finding its groove here late in the season. Tom Brady's he wants to be in the playoffs, and no matter what's going on in that locker room, I think he's going to find a way to get into the playoffs.
100% agree because Tom Brady does not miss the playoffs. He does not, and I think this game, Atlanta's kind of a down year. They had high expectations with the offense, but the offense that Tampa Bay brings, all the weapons they got, their defense at Atlanta gives up a lot of points. I like Tampa Bay to win this one. Next game up, my boys, the Dallas Cowboys, are hosting the 49ers right after the game. Who you like?
I'm going with your Cowboys. This 49ers team is still pretty shaky, pretty shaken up, and I think the Cowboys are going to sneak out a win and help them.
I like the Cowboys as well. Their defense played phenomenal last week against the Cincinnati Bengals, but then again, it's the Bengals without Joe Burrow. Hey, let's just say it was a good week for me. I was happy. We got a win finally. But Andy Dalton had a revenge week against Cincinnati, so it was kind of good to see him do that. But this Cowboys team, they're playing a 49ers team who's hurt, beat up, and not veteran enough to withhold a great road victory here. So I like the Cowboys at home to win the game. Next game, we got the Lions and Titans going off. Who you like?
I'm going with this Titans offense. They're deadly, especially with Derrick Henry in the backfield. So I don't really think the Lions defense is going to have an answer to Derrick Henry's toughness. And then what Corey Davis has done as well.
Corey
And
Davis,
A.J. Brown.
Corey Davis, AJ Brown. This Titans offense is ready to roll. I like I like Titans to win this one big. I think the Lions, they got Matt Stafford. That's about it though. I think this team is on a rise here soon because they just fired their coach, looking for a new one. So a lot of openings up, but the interim coach has been coaching very well, especially with that first one he had against the Bears 2 weeks ago. But this week he's playing against a tough Titans offense, and Derrick Henry's on the verge of 2,000 yards. I like Titans and Derrick Henry in this victory. Next game, we got the Texans and Colts facing off. Who you like in this AFC battle?
I'm going with the Colts. This offense is led by Phillip Rivers, and I think he's kind of in the same boat as Tom Brady. He doesn't want to be out of the playoffs. They have a team that can compete. I mean, they're good all around. We've talked about them all year, offensively and defensively, and I think he's going to lead them to a victory past this pretty shaky Texans team.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Phillip Rivers is tired of not being in the playoffs, my eyes, and he knows he has a team now who can make the playoffs because all you hear about is really for that Colts team is Phillip Rivers and offense. You don't hear much about defense, and I talk about defense a lot because Darius Leonard leads the way in the outside linebacker spot. The corners are above average. They're pretty good in my eyes, and they can lock down anybody on this Texas team because they really have no one to throw the ball to because they traded everyone away for a first-round pick or second-round pick to the Cardinals. So, I like the Colts in this game too. Next game up, a nice AFC East battle. The Patriots travel down to Miami. Who you like?
I'm going with Miami in this one. Have they declared who's starting yet?
Tua.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a field day for Tua. That defense is pretty shaky. I expect it to be pretty close though. Like I don't think Bill Belichick's going to go down without a fight, especially late in the season.
I agree with that one. I think it's going to be a close game because the Dolphins are good in the passing game on the defense side, but off on running game, they're not. And Cam Newton's on the Patriots team, and we all know he runs the ball pretty effectively, pretty well. So it's definitely going to be a close game, but I like the Dolphins this one just because the defense gets the edge, obviously. And really think about it, you can't run the ball to win a game. You got to throw the ball eventually. I like Dolphins in this one. Next game up, an NFC North battle. The Chicago Bears, who Caleb loves so much this year, taking on the Vikings. Who you like?
Yeah, I'm going against the Bears in this one. I like Justin Jefferson in this one. I think this offense is going to have a pretty successful day. They seem like they've really clicked and found their groove somewhat, and I think that's going to carry over into this game. I think it's close, though.
Yeah,
it's close.
It can be a close one, but my thing, I don't think the Bears' offense can keep up with the Vikings' offense does.
Yeah.
I don't think Mitch Trubisky can do what Kirk Cousins does, and I definitely don't think Allen Robinson can do what Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen do. And then again, I don't think Dave Montgomery can do what Dalvin Cook can do. So I like the Vikings win this one a significant amount, honestly. I just think the defense the Bears have, yeah, it's pretty good. It is pretty good, but their offense cannot keep up and help them out at all. I think the Vikings win this one by a good amount. Next game up, Caleb, your Washington football team on a 2-game win streak. Might be more, but I know they won the last 2 weeks.
I think we're on 4.
4? Yeah, it's something like that.
It's 4.
4. We're in a 4-game win streak. Can they
Top of the
withhold the
NFC
win
East,
streak and beat the Seattle Seahawks this Sunday?
Yeah, I'm going to keep the faith. I'm keeping the faith. I think this win streak is a lot. This team has really bought in. I watched an interview with Jason Williams, the president, and they're really bought in. They're really bought in around Chase Young, and this defense, I think, can lead the way to a playoff berth. It's going to be a tough game for this defense, though, but I think the defense can get it done.
Only problem, yes, the front 7 are great for the Washington football team. Great, phenomenal. No doubt about it. Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, phenomenal. What's going to hurt you the most is what we always talk about, the DBs. And what does Russell Wilson love? The deep balls. To DK, to Tyler Lockett, and even Chris Carson. Let's be real. I think Seattle will get the victory in this one only because I think the Washington can shut down the run game. It's just the passing game they won't be able to shut down. Because think about it. The Washington's like a one-dimensional team on the defense side. They're stopping the run, the pass is getting let up. But they finally hold off from stopping the pass, the run game's coming.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed with them playing. And I just don't think that they'll get the job done against this Seattle Seahawks team, especially with Russell Wilson, because you're not talking about him a lot because he's a phenomenal quarterback, and he's done a great job this year. So, I like Seattle. Next game up, this might be an easy one, Caleb. It might be a hard one to pick, not for sure. But we got Jacksonville Jaguars going against the Ravens. Can the Jaguars snap their 12-game losing streak?
They cannot. They cannot. And the only reason, well, I mean, not the only reason, but the way Lamar found a way to win the other night is the reason I'm going with the Ravens. Not because the Jags are bad, but Lamar found a way to beat the Browns. And if this game were even close, he would do the same thing. And it's obviously going to be a blowout, but I'm going Ravens heavy.
I like the Ravens as well, 100%. It's going to be a blowout. Not really much to say on this one. It's just the fact that all I can say is, Jacksonville, you have a top 3 pick in the draft. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Coming up next, another game. The New York Jets taking on the Rams. Can the Jets end their 13-game win streak and not winning season? Not a winning season.
No. Rams are definitely winning this one pretty hefty too. Jets are, I guess Jets fans are just looking forward to the draft.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can look forward to now.
So the Rams?
Yeah, Rams heavy.
You sure?
Oh, I'm sure.
All right. Next game up, I like the Rams too. Next game up, we got the Eagles and Cardinals. We got Jalen Hurts against Kyler Murray. Who you like?
I'm going Kyler Murray in this one just because even if the Washington team does lose, I need the Eagles to lose so we can stay in first. So I'm going Cardinals heavy.
I'm going with the Eagles. Mainly because we gotta have a different pick at least one time. And I like the Eagles, especially the way they played last week against the Saints. Jalen Hurts looks so comfortable back there. And honestly, you can just tell his maturity when he plays. Like, you can look at him like he's not a rookie, but he really is. Like, you discovered Jalen Hurts' maturity in college when he took the back burner to Tua, and he was fine with it. He didn't transfer that next season. He stayed out, was a backup again, and then he finally transferred to get the starting role. But he's a smart kid. He learned under Nick Saban, learned everything he had, but also learned from another great coach, Lincoln Riley.
It was 4 years, right, in college football? 4 years?
Yeah, because the senior he was at Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, that's right. I didn't want to get that wrong, but which is you don't really see it in college sports either way, but especially in football. Like, I feel like it's, especially if you're a really good quarterback like he was, 2 years and you're out. 3 years maybe, but 4 years, I mean, that, like you said, that really showed his leadership, and he really looks comfortable back there. I agree with that.
Still costing money when I bet on the Heisman senior year, not going to lie. But next game up, which I think is going to be a good game. The Chiefs take on the Saints. Drew Brees is back. Doctor says 100% healthy. He's great to play. Who you like?
I'm kind of debating the Saints on this one. I think the Chiefs are going to slip up. I think this Saints team is, I mean, obviously both teams are dominant on the offside of the ball, but Drew Brees' first game back, he's going to want to show this is my team, especially at home for them. I'm favoring the Saints in this one.
You like the Saints? I like the Chiefs, honestly, mainly because it's Drew Brees' first game back. That's why. If it wasn't his first game back, I figured it'd be a different ball. If he came back last week, I'd probably favor the Saints. But that Saints offense is used to having Taysom Hill back there, and they're doing different things. But now they can get back to the group how Drew Brees does his thing. So going against the Chiefs team is going to be tough to do. Back to adjustments, I like the Chiefs to win this one. But a close one. Sunday Night Football. What a great one this is. The Browns take on the Giants. Who you like, Caleb?
I'm going with the Browns in this one. They played really well. Baker Mayfield, actually. I'm not the biggest Baker Mayfield fan. Actually played really good against the Ravens. and I think that's going to carry over this week. The Giants have also played really good with their nice little win streak, but this is a tough team to go up against, especially in the position the Browns are in. Like they're in, oh, we have a chance to make the playoffs the first time in forever. Let's get to it. And I think the Browns are really going to kick it into that second gear and get this one.
But you could say the same thing about the Giants too. They need to win.
That's true, but I think the Browns have a little bit more weapons. Like
I agree.
if the Giants had Saquon, I would definitely go with the Giants 100%. But that's a key part of that offense. Like the same thing you said with the football team. They're kind of one-dimensional right now. And the Browns defense is really good, secondary and front seven.
Yeah, I like the Browns win this game too because of what they put against the Ravens, honestly. They look really well. They just, the luck wasn't in their hand, and the Ravens had the ball last. That's pretty much what it came down to. And the Giants had a tough game last week, and I don't see them, coming back strongly this week. I think they're going to have another tough one against the Browns. I like the Browns win this one. Last game, Monday Night Football, another great one. The Steelers take on the Bengals. Can the Steelers snap their 2-game losing streak?
Yeah, this is the perfect team to do it against. And after this week, it's the Bills, I think, for them. So this is, I think, a perfect game for them.
They played the Bills last week?
Or, no, they played them last week. Sorry. It's the Colts, actually. I knew they had one more hard game. So I think this is a perfect game for them to fix what they need to fix against a pretty bad team.
100% agree. I like the Steelers win this one because I just don't think the Bengals can have what it takes to go against that defense the Steelers brings. And the offense, hopefully, for the Steelers, going to catch balls. They're getting back in the game. They got to pick their run game up. They got to do better in the run game if they want to win a Super Bowl. So this is a game to, get the nicks and knots out and get things rolling to get ready for playoffs. It's a good game to happen before you play the Browns again in the last game of the season. So that concludes our NFL talk. Come back every week, hear what the picks were, the results were, and you see who's still winning. More likely to be me because Caleb and I only have 2 different picks.
Yeah.
2. So either way, by the way it looks, I'll still be in the lead. Ha, ha, ha. So with that being said, moving on to college basketball. What an exciting week it's been. A lot of games happened, but a lot of fun ones to watch, and a lot of teams performed and showed their dominance again this past week. A team that shows true dominance so far this year is number 3, Iowa. Iowa looks so good. Luke Garza is on a whole nother level. Yes, I know the last game they played Northern Illinois, who's 0-5. But Luke Garza, 23 points, 8 for 10. On the season so far this season, he is shooting 69% and averaging 29 points a game. This dude is phenomenal to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I said it last week. He somehow got better than last year, and like I said, I didn't think it was possible, but it's possible. And he's already my favorite for National Player of the Year. He solidified it. I mean, he went perfect one half. It was against Northern Illinois, or not Northern Illinois, Northern Iowa, I think. Some team like that, but went perfect for the first half, and I think only missed one shot the rest of the second half. This kid's phenomenal, like you said, and he has a bright future, very bright future.
He does. He's sitting at 6'11", 250, great size. He's ready for league bound already.
Can shoot.
I'm glad he came back for his senior year because it just shows like he got a lot better in the offseason. He's performing very well. He's up 14% from his field goal percentage last year because he's at 55 and he's at 69. Limit, it's only 6 games in the season, but he is still improving a lot. But next to Luke Garza, they have another great guard, Joe Wieskamp. I don't know how to say it, Wieskamp. That man's averaging 15 points a game, 5.8 rebounds. He's shooting 55% from field goal range. Like, they got shooters all over the place.
Yeah, and I think I said something about it last week as well. It's nice to see that those guards have really stepped up. Like, last year, they got some decent guard play, but it was mostly just Luke Garza. The teams really had to focus on him. They didn't really focus on the guards as much. They weren't shooting well, and this year, man, they're playing really well, and it's what makes this team deadly, very deadly, because you have to really focus on Luke Garza, like double team him. I mean, from the start.
And what also helps his team out a lot, I feel like, is they're not just playing 7, 6 guys. They're starting 5 and playing a whole bench almost. They had 6 guys come off the bench against NIU who had double digits minutes. 21 minutes, 15 minutes, 14, 10, 18, 14 minutes. Like, they're playing a whole roll of guys, so they got fresh legs coming in left and right. So it's smart for the coach to get his players well prepared for any time decision that comes in later on in the season. They want to play now, get the minutes in, get the reps in pretty much, see what you can do now, work on in practice to be ready for the big-time games later on if we need you, which is a smart thing that's going on right there in Iowa. I love this Iowa team.
Same.
But another great team who is showing dominance in my eyes is WVU. Yeah, they're sitting at 6-1 for the year. Okay, that one loss was the 5 points number 1 Gonzaga. They bounced back, won by 9 against Georgetown, beat North Texas at home by 12, then came back literally 2 nights later, played Richmond, a top 25 team, and beat them by 16. In that Richmond game, you look at this roll, yeah, Miles McBride, 20 points, played phenomenal in my eyes. I mean, they got to work on their shooting a little bit, but Miles McBride missed 2 shots. He shot 9 for 11.
Yeah, I think it's kind of weird how last week I talked about if they want to be a top 5 team, which I truly think they can be, then they needed to shoot better, and they come out this game and shoot 57% from the 3. Insane. I love to see it. I'm glad because I love to see it. This team, they looked really good. I mean, probably one of the best teams I've seen at WVU play in a while, honestly.
110 miles.
Nice to see that everyone's getting minutes too. Like you said with Iowa, everyone's getting minutes and getting that experience. And for everyone to get minutes and get experience against a really good team in Richmond, is going to be very helpful down the road. And I'm pretty sure almost everyone's played in every game too. I mean, we have pretty deep depth on the bench.
Yeah, there's a deep depth on the bench for WVU. And I think, honestly, I really do think this WVU team can make a big run in the tournament if it happens. Hopefully it does. But
let's cross our fingers.
Exactly. So we move on to the best games of the week for college basketball. There is one big one that should be on everyone's radar. In the midst of the college football conference championships going on, this game, noon on Saturday, is number 3 Iowa taking number 1 Gonzaga. This is going to be a very big fight. I'll say that right now because you got Luke Garza, the big center, going against Drew Timme for the forward from Gonzaga, who's averaging 23 points a game, 60% shooting from the field. I think this game might be the game of the year before you even see the game.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say this is probably going to be the best game of the year, unless that Baylor-Gonzaga game gets rescheduled, because I also think that could be a game of the year potential. But right now, this is definitely for now game of the year. Man, I don't know who to pick for this one, honestly. This Gonzaga team is deadly, and we talked about this Iowa team and their guards. You're really going to see how good their guards are when, like we said, this Gonzaga team really only plays 5 guys. You have a team with a lot of depth in Iowa, and Gonzaga really runs 5 guys, and those 5 guys put up all their points and can outscore almost any team in the nation. So it's going to be fun to see. But this Iowa team, I mean, they've put up almost 100 points in every single game. Their lowest scoring game was 93 against UNC.
So going off that, Iowa averaged 100.5 points per game. Gonzaga averages 93 points a game. 2 high-scoring teams. Now, then again, Gonzaga's played 3 games. 2 were against top 10 teams, WVU, Kansas. In the Kansas game, they had 102 points to win the game, but they let Kansas have 90 points. And Kansas isn't as big and isn't shooting the ball well as Iowa does. So this game's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah.
In my eyes. Following
It's
that
definitely going to
game.
be the best game.
Oh, I swear this might be the best game of the year. I mean, the game hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah. But if you're betting, I would say you could take the over, but I wouldn't bet on a team. I wouldn't try to take the lines.
I'd go with the betting line total 170.5. You might as well bet the over because each team averages 90 points a game. And Iowa lets 70 points drop a game, and Mr. Gonzaga allows 80 points a game. So right there's 150 they both allow total. So you got to go with the over.
Yeah, for sure.
Another good game to follow through on Saturday is number 23 Louisville taking on number 12 Wisconsin. Two teams we really haven't talked about much this year, I've noticed. But these two teams are always a dark horse, always good to programs. They're always a top 25 team every season in and out. But this Wisconsin team is kind of like on a different, level than they usually are. They don't really have a star performer player like they did with Frank Kaminsky and Sam Decker. Like they really don't have that star player. But what I've noticed with them, they're good on defense this year. Very phenomenal. They let Loyola Chicago have 63 points on them. Rhode Island, 62 points. And Rhode Island is a good shooting ball program. Marquette, 67, the game they lost by 2. And then Green Bay had 42 points on them. Looking at the last game Wisconsin played against Loyola Chicago, they're starting 5. Brad Davis, 17 points. 4 for 7. Long, pretty much cat. He shoots the ball really well. Any thoughts on this game you like so far? Any insight on Louisville?
Yeah, I mean, I like Louisville in this one. I just think that them being in the ACCs, I mean, they're kind of built for games like this. Even though the ACC has really struggled in this challenge this year, but this Louisville team, they're good. I mean, you look at their center play, Dre Davis, who's a freshman. Last game he had 21 points. They also have pretty good guard play. I just think that this team they're deep, and that's going to really help them. Not only when it comes down to ACC play, which ACC is not looking very good right now.
Not at all.
But so I think that's really going to help them, but I think it will help them in this game as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at the last game they played against Western Kentucky, and the West Kentucky game pinpoints me because it reminds me when they played WVU. They very talked high on that Basie player that West Kentucky has, a big center. Let's just say Davis for Louisville shut him down. 13 points he had. Basie did.
Yeah, I mean Basie's he's good though. I gotta give him a credit due because he was tearing us up.
Oh, I'm not saying he's not bad at all. I'm saying he's that good.
Yeah, but
game.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, going off that, I think they can really kind of focus on that player that they need to and shut him down. And like you said, Wisconsin really doesn't have that go-to guy right now. So I think Louisville, while they have that go-to guy, I think that big man play for both of their guys is going to benefit them well.
There's 2 good games that happen on Sunday. We got number 13 Illinois taking on number 19 Rutgers. Rutgers sitting at 5-0, led by leading scorer Ron Harper Jr. averaging 23 points a game. But then Illinois' star player is the other guard on their side, Ayo Dosunmu. Did I say his last name, Caleb?
Dosunmu.
Dosunmu. Who's averaging 22.7 points per game. This is a great game for guard play. Just those 2 cats right there. Those 2 guys play very well. Rutgers, 5-0, like I said, coming off a big win against Maryland at Maryland, coming off a big win against Syracuse by 10. They played tough games, and Illinois sent out 2 losses. This game, Caleb, what you like knowing?
I'm liking Illinois in this one just because of one guy, and that's Coffee Cochran. I mean, I know you brought up Ayo Dosunmu, so I won't touch much on him, but obviously great guard. But Coffee Cochran is a different type of big man. I mean, we talk about Basie from Western Kentucky. We've talked a lot about Derek Culver and Big O on this show. But Coffee Cochran is a real deal for this team. And I think that duo with him and Ayo is just – it's going to be there like it has been so far this year. And I expect them to get a pretty close win. I don't think this is going to be a blowout because this, like you said, Ron Harper – and this Rutgers team, they're pretty good. And it's nice to see that Rutgers is kind of back in the conversation of top 25 teams and top 25 now. I guess you
I
could
like
say.
Rutgers in this game. This is why. The Rutgers Gymnasium is like the Cameron Indoor of the North. Small,
That's
hot,
true. It is awful.
divided. It's old, and from what Illinois has played, they played teams who have good facilities on the road. They played at Baylor. They played at Duke. They played at Missouri. They haven't played in a small, really confinement area with no AC pretty much. The stands are close to the court. Yeah, there's no fans. If there's fans in this game, I'm betting Rutgers all the way. But there's not.
I was gonna say if there were fans, I would take Rutgers because of that gymnasium being so small. I didn't take into account how small that their gym really was and how hot it was too. But I think they can get it done. I mean, they're still a good team, but
Yes.
that is a heck of an advantage if you're Rutgers.
Exactly. And that's why I like Rutgers. And if you're going to bet the game, bet the under. I'll tell you that right now. Because every time Rutgers plays at home, they don't score many points, but they don't let their opponents score that many either, and they win games. Rutgers is phenomenal at home.
Mm.
That's why I like the edge. Another best game of the week comes on Tuesday, and this includes the best games of college basketball. Tuesday, we got number 8, WVU, taking on number 5, Kansas. A nice Big 12 matchup to start out for WVU. Well, tonight they start against Iowa State. The second game of the Big 12 season. Who you like?
I like this WVU team. Seeing what they could do against Richmond, who obviously, I mean, isn't Kansas, but they're still a really good team, like I've said. That 5-point loss to Gonzaga, I think, really helped them a lot too. And they've played really good teams, to whereas Kansas, I mean, they've played good teams, but I think WVU's resume is a little bit better. And Kansas kind of really struggled against this Texas Tech team last night, I believe it was. So I'm going WVU.
I like WVU a lot in this one because it's like we talked about earlier in the show. It's the best WVU team we've seen in a while. And this Kansas team, they're pretty good. Coached by Bill Self, good program they've had. And then they had a 12-point loss to Gonzaga earlier this season, but they played great. They played good on the road against Texas Tech this past week. But this WVU team, the manpower they got down low, I don't think Kansas can match up with that because they don't have that manpower themselves anymore like they used to. And that's what's going to hurt them a lot. So I like this one to be a close one, and I like WVU, honestly. That concludes the college basketball talk of the week. Come back next week. We'll talk more, give a nice little recap of the week, and talk about other best games of the following week coming up. Coming up next, we got the college football. College football is coming to a close here soon, guys, and it's kind of sad to see, but it's got to happen. But we'll still hope that there's a playoff going to be incited. So the nice little recap that I've come up with is how dominant UNC did against Miami. That final score was 62-26. UNC racked up 62 points and 778 yards in that big win against Miami. They shut down Derek King, and Sam Howell didn't have to do much.
Yeah, you don't love to see that if you're Miami, especially with the high hopes they had going into that game.
Especially on their home field.
That too.
And that's gotta be them.
This North Carolina team, 2 of their guys are on my 5-star, and
So we won't touch much more in the game then.
yeah, I'll touch more on that once we get into it.
All right. Another thing to talk about is do you think Florida, after the loss to LSU, their playoff chances are done?
Yeah. I mean, are they going to beat Alabama? Do we really think that?
You never know. It's 2020.
That's true, but I just don't see where they beat Alabama. This Alabama team is really good. I understand this Florida team's good, and Kyle Trask might have had an off day, but it's this. He's not going to have a year like Joe Burrow did, where he can just run through Alabama. I don't think so, and run through the college football playoffs. So I like this Alabama team, and I think their playoff hopes are done, especially if Ohio State wins.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that loss to LSU hurt them tremendously because say Ohio State Say Ohio State did lose to Northwestern. Florida was in.
Yeah, but I don't even think they're in the conversation now because of that loss.
They're number 7 right now, 2 losses on the record. Texas A&M is now in the conversation above them.
Yeah, but people were saying that their only credible win was Florida. And now Florida lost LSU. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that as an Ohio State fan, but I definitely think – I don't know. We'll see.
We will see, but that concludes the recap because there really wasn't much to talk about because nothing really surprising happened besides that Florida loss to LSU and that late second field goal that happened. It's kind of sad to see, honestly. I ain't gonna lie. Because pretty much
I hate to see it for Kyle Trask.
Yeah, the ball was in their court. All you had to do is win out, make that title game, play well in that one. You could have lost it either way. You just play well during the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we said if you lose within – if Kyle Trask plays well and you lose within 7, your whole team plays well, and you lose within 7 to 10, you're probably in the playoffs if Ohio State wins or loses. So
the ball was in their court fully, and they blew it.
Yep.
So that concludes that. Now we're going to our 5-star weekend that happened this past weekend. Caleb and I do it every week. Pick 5 players in the college football world who were 5-star performers this past weekend in college football. Because in high school, they could have been a 3-star, 2-star, 4-star, but they are 5-star this past weekend. Caleb, started off with number 5.
My number 5 is Rachaad White, running back from Arizona State. 10 carries, 133 yards, and 3 touchdowns as they got a 70-7 win over Arizona.
That was a phenomenal game. I ain't gonna lie about Herm Edwards. Coached very well. My number 5 guy is Jalen Darden, wide receiver out of North Texas. 8 catches, 173 yards, and 4 TDs in that very close win against UTEP, 45-43.
My number 4 guy is Jason Healy, Coastal Carolina wide receiver. 11 receptions, 138 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So they got a 42-38 win against Troy, and they stay undefeated.
My number 4 guy is Tyler Nevins, running back out of San Jose State. 12 carries, 185 yards, 1 TD. But the main reason he's on this list, he averaged 15.3 yards per carry against a tough Nevada defense and won the game 30-20.
My number 3 guy is Amir Smith-Marset, Iowa wide receiver. 7 receptions, 140 yards, and 3 touchdowns as they got a 28-7 win against Wisconsin.
My number 3 guy is Keaton Slovis, the quarterback of USC. 30 for 47, 344 yards, 5 TDs, threw 2 interceptions, but had a great win against UCLA, 43-38. And now he's in the Pac-12 championship tonight.
My number 2 guy is Austin Hahn, North Texas quarterback. 16 for 29, 302 yards, and 5 touchdowns as they got a 45-43 win against UTEP.
My number 2 guy is exact same as yours. Austin Hahn, quarterback of North Texas. Played well, and his receivers are number 5 on the list. But a quarterback threw to him the ball, got the same amount of TDs, but a lot of yards. So, got number 2.
My number 1, talked about him earlier, this UNC running back core. Michael Carter and Javonte Williams combined for 47 carries, 544 yards, and 5 touchdowns as they got a 62-26 victory at Miami. And back-to-back seasons, both of them are 1,000-yard rushers, which is insane for UNC.
Well, my number 1 guy is half of your number 1. I just chose Michael Carter, the running back of UNC, because he had 24 carries, 308 yards himself, 2 TDs against Miami in that big win. I kind of figured you told me you were going to do both, so I said I would just pick one. Do both. This kind of thing. Yeah, I got the heads up from Caleb that he was doing both, so I was like, all right, I'll just do one. But great games for UNC running backs. It's phenomenal to see 2 running backs, same program, same year, 1,000 yards. It's very unheard of, honestly.
Unheard of for 2 running backs to put up over 100 yards in the same game, too, especially 200 and 300.
Yeah, that's crazy, especially against Miami, who has a tough defense. Anyways, that concludes our 5-star performers of the week. Caleb and I do it every week. Come back next week because your favorite player might be on our 5-star performing weekend. Now we're going to the best games of college football, and it's all the college football conference championships. I pinpointed 5 of the top 5, ranking them from the worst game to the best game to watch. And kind of sad news, the Sun Belt Conference Championship game is canceled. I was looking forward to seeing number 19 Lafayette going against number 13 Coastal Carolina, but it is canceled That was going to be my number one game of the week. It really was because they played earlier this season against each other. Pretty much what put Coastal Carolina on the map after that win. So it was. But we're going to start at number 5 and work the way up. So from worst to best. Number 5 game, I honestly think it's the worst game of the weekend. Number 14, Northwest, taking number 4, Ohio State. I think Ohio State wins this one without a doubt. Like, there's no question asked. There's no back and forth picking between who wins, who doesn't.
I agree.
So we don't got to talk much about that game.
No.
All I got to say is if Northwestern wants to win, Peyton Ramsey, you got to have more than 100 yards passing.
I'd say you probably have to have more than 200 because
I'm just saying that because Peyton Ramsey has had under 100 yards passing in multiple games this year. Last week he had 84 yards. The number 4 game is number 1 Alabama taking on number 7 Florida. This game is not really talked about because everyone knows who's going to win.
Yeah, especially after, like we said, Florida losing last week. So I'm going Alabama pretty heavy on this one.
I couldn't agree more. You got to love Alabama. The past 7 games, they were 7-0 against the spread. Each spread was double digits, and right now they're a 17.5-point favorite over Florida. So you're going to bet the first half.
Yeah.
Number 3 games out of the American Conference. Number 23 Tulsa take on number 9 Cincinnati. This game could be either or in my eyes. I mean, Tulsa has not played in a while, but Cincinnati has not played in 3 weeks. So both teams are rested pretty well. It's a toss-up in my eyes.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards Cincinnati though, just because they're all around good. I mean, same thing with Alabama. This offense and defense are both clicking. I mean, they haven't played in 3 weeks, but it's even better for them. Desmond Ridder's been able to rest up his arm and his legs. Defense has been able to rest up. They haven't been laying any hits. I think the Cincinnati team's going to come out firing, especially since they know that they're a top 10 team. I mean, they get the chance to play in the New Year's, so yeah, that's pretty big for Cincinnati.
It is, and that's what I was hoping. If Coastal Carolina played, I would love to see Coastal Carolina New Year's Eve Bowl. I was hoping for it, but more than likely it's not going to happen because they're not playing a conference title.
That would have been the best.
Exactly. I like Cincinnati in this one too. I just think both teams are well rested. Both teams are very great to see, great to watch. Tulsa has won some big ones, so I like Cincinnati though. The number 2 game is the Big 12 championship game. Number 10 Oklahoma to number 6 Iowa State. Spencer Rattler is trying to get his revenge on Iowa State. And Iowa State's head coach has always played well against Oklahoma. Always. Every time he's an underdog, he wins. And this week, he's a 5.5-point underdog. Who you like in this one?
I like this Iowa State team. They're just so good. I mean, Brock Purdy's looked really good against WVU. I mean, we talked about how good their defense was this year, and they were a top-notch statistic team. And, yeah, they couldn't do anything for them. And then you take Breece Hall. It's phenomenal. So I like Iowa State pretty heavy, honestly.
I think Oklahoma's going to win this one because Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley has been in this position before. Spencer Rattler has learned from his mistakes. And I just think that this team that Iowa State has is not really well prepared like Oklahoma is.
Yeah, I could agree to that, but I just think this Iowa State offense is very deadly.
Did you hear that loud bang too?
Uh-huh.
Oh, there's a loud bang outside. I think snow fell off the roof, something like that. I don't know. But the number 1 game of the week, honestly, is Notre Dame versus Clemson. Rematch. Clemson has all the players back. Trevor Lawrence playing, and Clemson is a 10.5-point favorite. Who you like?
I think Clemson. I'm really thinking Clemson just because Trevor Lawrence is back. He's had a couple of weeks to play, and I think he's that much of a difference maker when he's on the field. I mean, I think it's the same thing with a lot of quarterbacks, like Mac Jones. You take Mac Jones out of that offense, you put in their backup. While I think he's going to do good and they'll win the game like Clemson did with Boston College, I just think that he's a different type of factor, and I think that's going to carry over this game.
I like Clemson a lot in this one. I think Trevor Lawrence in his career is 33-1. That one loss against LSU in the championship game last year. He's the most prepared quarterback we've ever seen, probably in college football in my eyes. And his only bad game ever was that championship game last year. Only bad game. And this team is a whole other team with him on the field. You can tell Travis Etienne runs better. The defense plays better. It's just Clemson ball probe is a lot better with him on the field. I think Clemson can win this game by a lot. It's crazy. I think they can win by a lot.
I'm definitely thinking the line is a little too low on this one. So I'm thinking probably 2 touchdowns, 2 to 3.
Couldn't agree more. So we both agree Clemson wins. We both agree Cincinnati wins. We both agree Alabama wins. We both agree Ohio State wins. So with all that being said, to conclude the episode, Caleb, give me your Final Four prediction. Who's that 4th team?
I'm taking Alabama at 1, taking Clemson at 2, Ohio State at 3, and Notre Dame at 4. I think that loss in the ACC championship and then Ohio State being undefeated while winning the conference championship, I just think that's going to bump them up. So I could see Notre Dame being at 3 too.
I agree. I think number 1 is definitely Alabama, and if Clemson wins, they're definitely number 2. That 3 spot is back and forth between Ohio State and Notre Dame. My question is this. If I was Notre Dame, you better win this game. Because if you lose, you're playing Alabama. And you don't want to play Alabama this year.
I mean, I think either way you're kind of screwed if you're this Notre Dame team, to be honest. I just don't think they can really keep up with any offense. But we just talked about the Alabama defense.
So imagine, you lose the ACC title game against Clemson. It was a great team. And then, next game against Alabama.
Just get absolutely murdered by Alabama? That would suck. That would absolutely suck.
And then you're going to hear all the fans say, this Notre team shouldn't be in the playoffs. Shouldn't be in the playoffs again. Shouldn't be.
But you'll always hear that. You'll always hear that to no matter what team's in the playoffs. And I'm going to say this again just to wrap up the episode. We need more playoff teams.
More teams would be a lot better because I'm telling you.
I'm really liking the 16. I saw that on Twitter, and I really like that. Like, I always go back to that, and I really like that. More than our 8 idea. I just don't see where they jump to 16, where I would love it, though.
16 is too much in my eyes. That's too many.
I love it, though, because you get to see a lot of teams that won't play anybody. I mean, I think you'll have a couple blowouts. Like, if you had a Alabama versus a Coastal Carolina, if they were at 16 or something, like, that's probably going to be a blowout. But I mean, it's definitely good for Coastal Carolina because they get that recognition.
I'd say get rid of all the BS bowl games and do that. If you're into 16 teams,
I would agree with that.
Because I mean, and you fill it in. I mean, you keep the bowl game names, and like teams get there. You know what I'm saying? Like make
your way to the Sweet 16.
Pretty much.
I mean, they could probably steal that name too, since it's NCAA. So
guarantee it. So Caleb, go ahead and say your peace, love, goodbyes.
Well, guys, it's another week. See you guys next week before Christmas, and enjoy your guys' weekend. Watch some football. There will be some really good games that we talked about. Definitely watch that Gonzaga-Iowa game before any football game. I'll just put that out there. It's going to be the best game out of anything, NFL, college football, basketball, all week. And like, subscribe, do our polls on Twitter, and see you guys next week.
Like Caleb said, like, subscribe, do the polls on Twitter, leave comments so we can talk a bit more about what's going on in the sports world, because we love to talk about, we love insight. Every little bit helps, like everyone says. Also, like Caleb said, watch sports this weekend. College football is coming to a close. Watch conference title games, but I didn't check the time frame of those conference games. You better watch Iowa and Gonzaga game if you're a big sports fan. That's going to be a top-notch game to watch. I'm telling you, watch the game, then watch the conference games after. Every other game, college basketball that day, don't matter. Iowa and Gonzaga starting off good, 12 o'clock game, college football right after. Makes perfect sense. Great sports day. So, I'm at Mackie. Peace out for the weekend. Episode 98 in the books. Come back next week for 99. And like I said, I'm at Mackie. Peacing out. Peace.
Cause lately I ain't been the same, feel like I'm stuck in a maze, and I'm just trying to